Hey, everybody. Welcome to another conversation here with one of our assets at loanDepot, Jim Brizzee, who runs our jumbo underwriting in the retail side. Morning, Jim.
Good morning, Steve.
Hey, so really excited to talk to you today because, in all the years I've been recruiting, mortgage banks haven't always been great at jumbo, but it's a big part of our differentiation here. And you're leading the charge. And I just thought it'd be cool for people to know who you are and maybe get a little bit of a background on, what you did before and talk about your group and just learn a little bit.
Certainly, I'd love to. Not sure where you want to start, but again, I joined loanDepot a little over a year ago, in October of 2020. I come from Wells Fargo before that for 18 and a half years. And not to age myself, but I'm like 41 years in banking now. So a long history, if you will. And so, the move to loanDepot, definitely a good opportunity and one I jumped at, but definitely different from the banking environment, to say the least. I think the biggest difference is in my role and responsibilities at Wells Fargo. We portfolioed everything that I did. So, you have that ability to, support an exception or make a loan and write to it and document it. Whereas here it's different. I mean, we've got, most of our business goes to other investors. So we have to abide by, their guidelines. And for the most part, their guidelines are very black and white and rigid, and you basically have to check off each box, regardless of how strong the loan might look. I mean, it's so from that standpoint, it's been an adjustment. I mean, I've had to resist the temptation to really almost argue as to, come on, guys, this is a good loan. Why are we stuck on this? But it's the reality, and it's probably been the single largest difference that I've had to deal with.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously balance sheet, totally different, but it's still a huge asset here. And people that have come over from banks, there's also more flexibility and freedom in having different products and different investors to sell to. And I just love how your group, I mean, you send out those emails every day with the turn times, and your group is really broken out to really hyper focus on jumbo, which is still every major metro area, and with home prices, it's just a larger part of our business historically and kind of going forward.
Oh, without a doubt. And I think what loanDepot has done, like I said, I came over in October of last year, and, through Brian Rugg, they, after they had shut down jumbo and then brought it back in, I want to say around May, June of last year, they decided to bring it back as an enterprise unit. Whereas before, I think it was just handled through retail and the other lines of business. So they took a different approach, obviously. I think based on COVID to a certain degree and just what was going on, in the economy and whatnot. But more so, I mean, jumbo is it's a higher risk product, obviously, and kind of what I touched on before. Not all of our investors have the same guidelines, so you have to be able to kind of, move very quickly from one product to another, and sometimes it's hard to keep those things straight. So, very important in that respect. But I mean, I'd like to think we've done a good job up to now. I mean, when I came on board, we had 14 underwriters.
Okay.
And then we had a few other who had just started, and we're currently up to 54 underwriters.
Holy mackerel. Hey, so wait, did I hear you right? Are you just in retail, or do you do wholesale and direct as well? Maybe I was off on that.
We currently just support retail and JV. We have in the past supported wholesale, but we did get them upskilled and their authority in the JA product. So wholesale handles their JA volume up to 2 million. They're limited to 2 million and the JA product alone. And then direct rolled the jumbo product, I want to say in April. of this year. And again, they do the direct volume, anything up to 2 million.
Got it. Here, hey, hold on 1 second. I'm making some tea and I hear the water is about to boil.
Oh, no problem.
I don't want it to whistle. There we go. And I'm back, just like that. Hey, so 54 people on your team, that's pretty crazy. What is different about how you lead and manage? I mean, is there anything different about how you lead and manage your team here in a mortgage banking, environment versus what it was like in the bank? Because you hear people talk about communication with underwriters at the big banks or lack of it. And, that whole thing, I mean, is that kind of been also different for you since joining, and just how the partnership exists and communication?
It hasn't been that different. I would probably say the biggest difference is, again, when we started the team, we didn't have the capacity to really, what I'll say, align underwriters to regions. But as we've grown, that's always been on our radar to attempt to do, because as you know, and our sales partners know, a large part of what we do and how we succeed is building those relationships, which then builds trust. Because we're all gonna make mistakes. We're gonna have challenging, applications and things of that nature. But when you build those relationships and you have that trust, it's a different conversation versus, only dealing with, a sales partner, once every, 3 or 4 months. So we've really tried to start to align our underwriters to regions. So that, again, they're starting to see some of the same underwriters, and it's not going to be necessarily a one-on-one relationship. And it's probably an 80-20 rule right now, where 80% of the time we are able to assign to the aligned underwriters. But I mean, it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, that sounds super cool. Hey, that maybe leads to maybe a last fun topic to talk about. Like, what are there any big plans for 2022 outside of, it sounds like, maybe aligning to regions? And I'm sure some regions do more jumbo than others, so that would be a huge value to just work consistently with the same underwriters. But anything else big in jumbo underwriting?
No, I mean, I think recently the introduction of the ARM with the JA product was very popular. Obviously, we love to do our proprietary product versus the investors, just because there's a little more flexibility, if you will, in that space.
Yeah, I've heard Brian describe it as a highly liquid portfolio product.
Yeah.
Not a balance sheet or something, based on deposits, but it's highly liquid and it's ours.
Yep, exactly. So, when we can underwrite to that versus our investors, that probably takes our blood pressure down just a little bit. But again, I mean, my underwriters are, like I said, I would tell you, I have the best of the best. It takes a special skill set to be in this space, the jumbo space, and then try and cover, anywhere from 3 to 5 different products that aren't the same. I mean, they have their little nuances, and again, we're held to a high standard as all underwriters are, but our quality is important. I mean, we've got to manufacture a pristine product. Otherwise, we're at risk of the investor not buying it or having to find another home for it. And that gets expensive. So
yeah, the bigger the loan amount, the more expensive it gets. That's for sure.
Yeah. When you're doing a $5 million loan versus, a $500,000 loan, there's a little more pressure there. And again, and I'll answer your question here in a second, but everything we do in the jumbo space is a manual underwrite. I mean, so everything is manual. We leverage DU slightly in the JA product, just for determining income docs and assets, but everything in the jumbo space is a manual underwrite. So, it takes more time. And it's definitely a little more in depth, if you will. So finding the right skill set, to handle that product has always been important to me and the team as we've grown. And we've been very fortunate with who we've hired. Like I said, I mean, it's hard to come into the jumbo space without jumbo background, because
definitely.
it is so different from, the conforming world, if you will.
So
But for
looking at,
2022, I mean, the ARM product, obviously, we never know what the economy holds for us in the future. But it seems that, we haven't seen much of a dip in volume probably all year, honestly. I mean, the beginning of the year obviously is slow, but I would tell you since April, I mean, we have stayed very busy. And I would anticipate the same in 2022. I mean, I told you earlier, I have 54 underwriters currently, and I'm still hiring to get to 60. So we are anticipating
we'll
the
get ready to
volume.
hire more because our recruiting team is firing on all cylinders, and
Yep.
this product.
Well, and
isn't
that's what I've heard
differentiated.
also is that you guys are definitely, doing a great job. I mean, you have a big presence in the market. And jumbo is a niche space that, there's business out there to be got. And I would tell you, I think we do it better than the competitors overall. And I would have no issue defending that to anybody, as far as that goes. But 2022, I'm excited about. Like I said, I mean, this team, again, is fairly new. It's a little over a year old. So we're still finding ways to try and refine our process, find efficiencies, and get better. Because we know how important turn times and service levels are to our partners. I mean, speed is a critical factor, obviously. So, the faster we can underwrite a loan, get an approval on it, the better for the sales partner and the borrower. Because I know, we've got what I'll reference as drop dead dates. I mean, we've got closing dates, and other critical dates that it's imperative that we make every effort to hit.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say I appreciate you. I mean, this is the first time we've met, and I have, seen the emails you guys send out, and it's just a huge part of a lot of the markets I work in, and you and your team do an amazing job. So,
well, we're trying, and like I said, we're always striving to get better. Because like I said, that if we can build those relationships, and again, our sales partners sense that relationship, they have trust. Again, I think that's valuable when you guys are looking to expand and hire more people, and when people ask questions about jumbo and, how good is the underwriting team, and, what are the issues they have. So the better we are, if I can, have our sales partners, speak highly of us, all the better.
Well, they already do, and I know it just keeps getting better every month. So
we're trying.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, I appreciate your time. Thanks for all you do, and I know it'll continue to evolve. It's cool to hear a leader like you who's running this group talk about constantly improving, because I think there's no perfect way to predict the future, and you just got to adapt and make some mistakes, fix them, or pick the right way and double down.
I would love to sit here and tell you we're perfect, but we're not.
Nobody is. All right. Well, you have a great Friday and an awesome weekend. And again, thank you for all you do. It's a huge help for, all the people that are coming over, because we do jumbo well, and the people who are here as well that's been.
No, thank you, Steve. I appreciate you reaching out. And again, I appreciate the feedback. And again, we'll keep doing what we can do to make our sales partners successful and make it easy for them to sell the jumbo product.
Dig it. Okay, cool. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, you too, Steve.